Hi guys. Today's video is about schooling and how to save for it. So as a parent of two, I think a lot about obviously schooling and the funding around it. As a financial advisor or planner, I've spent a lot of time sitting with clients, talking to them about what the expected cost might be, how much they need to save to meet the goal of the cost, etc., etc. So I've done a few numbers, and hopefully this helps you get a little bit of a framework around how to think of the problem. So in South Africa, private schooling, I suppose, is something we've all thought about as parents. It is extremely or prohibitively expensive, and it is wide-ranging in the cost. It can range anything from 60,000 Rand a year all the way up to 300,000 Rand a year. Now, what I've done is I've used somewhere in the middle of the road in terms of private schooling costs, and I hope this is helpful for you. So let's look at the numbers. So I've used 90,000 Rand a year, and that would be present value. So assuming the child was born today, that same child's, the school that child would like to go to would be 90,000 Rand a year. What I've noticed is that the lower grades tend to be cheaper, and then matric seems to be the most expensive year. So this is an average of the school fees over those 12 years. We've assumed an interest rate of 8% on the savings. Schools offer a discount usually for paying upfront, and that I've used 5% for that discount. And then there's an inflation rate or an escalation rate in both school fees. So if we start here and we assume the child is born in this year or today, then the school we want to send that child to, the grade 1 for that, costs 90,000 Rand. Now we have to project that into the future because we know that this cost is going to escalate. So the first year of this child's schooling would not cost 90,000 Rand, but instead 90,000 Rand adjusted for 6% inflation over 6 years, or 121,000 Rand. Now, what can we do to solve this riddle? Obviously, that will keep on escalating throughout the child's schooling career. Now, how can we solve this riddle? Well, essentially, if we go very simply and we save what the first year of that child's schooling will cost every year until that child goes to school without escalating. The first year that that child is in school, we then use some of the funding that we've allocated. We get the 5% discount. This is included in that price. And we replace that which we've taken out of the fund for the first 5 years of the child's schooling. Thereafter, we replace half of what we've taken out of the fund. According to this model, after we have finished with grade 6 and half that year's savings, we would not have to save again for this child, for the schooling at least. So grade 7 through to 12 would be paid for. And I think that's extremely valuable because it gives the parents a lot of time to amass more savings towards, for instance, the tertiary goals for the child's education. So let's run through that just briefly in terms of what it means. So you want to save what you believe the child's first year of education is going to cost. You want to save that for the first 5 years before, actually 6 years before the child goes to school. In the first 5 years of the schooling, you want to replace what you're taking out of the fund. In the 6th year, you want to replace half of what you've taken out of the fund, and at an 8% growth rate, you will not need to save again, according to this model. So I hope that helps you. I hope that gives you something to think about. Obviously, there are various things that we can change in this model. For instance, the age of the child. I mean, most parents don't have just one child. That's something to think about. But I do think for new parents, it gives you a target. It gives you some sort of a measure to think about what you want to be targeting in terms of how much to save for your child's education. I'd love to hear from you, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.